Hello, friends. It's Mr. Musselman here. I'm down underwater checking out all the incredible creatures that live here in the ocean. I have a special creature to share with you today, straight from the Burlington Science Center. Would you like to meet it? I like to call him the Superfish. I see you found the Superfish. It's not looking very super right now, is it? That's because what makes fish super are the many parts that make up its body. Let's start with this part right here. This is, of course, the body of our superfish, and you'll notice that it's covered in these curved-like pieces that we call scales. Scales tend to be harder than the rest of the fish and give it a bit of a tough but flexible body that the fish can use to move through the ocean. One thing that all fish have, that we have too, is what we call a backbone. I have here an example of a human backbone. Now you can see on this human backbone that we have the very top part where our skull would be. And this is the hip bone, which is at the bottom of our backbone. It's where our backbone attaches to our thighs and the bottom half of our body. In between are many little bones that are interconnected together, but not fused so that they can move up and down and flex and bend. One bone would be too hard and rigid, and we wouldn't have the flexibility to move around. Now, fish's backbones are similar but different. As you can imagine, they don't have a hip bone like you and I, because fish don't have any hips. Let's check out some other parts that make this fish super. What is this fish missing? What are some parts you would expect to find on a fish? Fins, that's it. This fish is definitely missing fins. Fins are kind of like the arms and the legs of a fish in that they help the fish move along. For example, this part right here is known as the tail fin. It's responsible for getting the fish to move forward. It pushes the fish in a forward direction so that it can move along in the water. That sideways back and forth is a little bit like its propeller. Of course, there are several other fins on a fish as well. Fish also have fins on the top and bottom parts of their body. These fins are not responsible for moving the fish forward and back. Instead, these fins provide a bit of balance to the fish so that it can swim straight in the water. Instead of wobbling about like you might when you're trying to learn how to ride a bicycle. Much better to go straight than all over the place. Fish also have pectoral fins. They're a little bit like the steering wheels on the sides of a fish. Fish have a pectoral fin on the left and the right side of their body. That helps them steer around in the water that they make their home in. Do you see anything else this fish is missing? That's right. This fish is missing an eyeball. Fish like us have two eyes, but their eyes are in slightly different places. Our eyes are on the front of our faces, so we can see forward. Whereas fish, their eyes are on the sides of their heads, closer to where our ears are. That gives them the ability to see not only forward, but also backwards and on both sides of their body. This is super important for fish so that they can see in all directions and keep their eye out for predators who might want to make them a snack. Of course, fish live underwater, but they need to breathe like you and I. That's why they have these special parts called gills. Gills allow them to sort out the oxygen that we find in oceans and lakes and rivers and streams. Oxygen is important for you and I and fish for our survival, to breathe and allow the rest of our body parts to work. So when you see a fish going, it's taking in water and its gills are sorting out the water and the oxygen. The oxygen stays in their body and then they push the rest of the water out. Pretty neat, huh? Fish like this come in sizes great and small. Smaller fish tend to scoot around in the water looking for plankton, little itty-bitty pieces of plant-like algae to survive on. But bigger fish will eat smaller fish as their way of getting their energy to survive. The biggest fish around is, of course, the shark. Sharks have really big jaws and hundreds of teeth in their mouths at a time. Not only that, a shark's jaw is capable of making many, many rows of teeth, sometimes 7 or more in a lifetime. Think about that. After you lose your baby teeth, you only get one adult tooth. A shark can have as much as 7 or 8 per tooth. That means a shark can be responsible for thousands of teeth. That's a lot of brushing. Of course, sharks don't brush teeth. When their teeth rot or fall out of their mouths while they're eating their meat, a new one pops up into place. Just like you're getting your adult teeth and squeezing out your baby teeth right now. Super cool.